Hello and welcome to Unacademy. Welcome to another episode for our series of Places in News, where we bring for you various different areas and regions which have remained in news headlines for the past couple of weeks and the past fortnight, which will be relevant for your examination, for the prelims, for geography, map pointing, even for areas such as environment and international relations as well. So, as is the case, we shall be discussing the various different areas and taking a look at the different multiple choice questions, sample questions which can be framed from the topic. So, if you want and if you are interested in availing the PDF or the written notes for the areas that we have discussed and also knowing the solution to the questions, the practice questions which are framed, then do log in and do participate in the Telegram channel, the link for which is given. Here, the PDF description for all the regions shall be provided in detail. Now, without further ado, let us take a look at the topics that we are going to discuss today. So today we are going to have a discussion for and the locational analysis for 9 different places in news. So out of them, 4 of them are international places, that is places across the globe, and then the 5 of them across the country itself, which has remained in news for some reason or the other. So starting with the first place, that is Kazan in Russia, which hosted the BRICS summit this year and recently. Now, Kazan is an important place in Russia where it serves as one of the regions which is on the banks of the largest river of Europe, that is River Volga. So here, if you take a look at the region of Kazan, it lies on the banks of River Volga, but also acts as a confluence of Kazanka River. So Volga and Kazanka, they meet up closer to the region of Kazan. Now, from here, you can have a question associated with the concept of BRICS or a question associated with River Volga. We shall be covering both of them. So when we talk about River Volga, it is the largest river of Europe, which has served as a cradle of civilization across the region of Russia. So it rises very close to the Ural Mountains. So it rises in the Valdai Hills northwest of Moscow. The Volga discharges into the Caspian Sea after draining for a length of almost 3,500 kilometers. Now, this river Volga, when it enters into the Caspian Sea, it provides the much required fresh water into the Caspian. And that freshwater supply of water into the Caspian lowers the salinity level of the Caspian Sea as well. So it is the river of Europe, it is the continent's longest, and also serves as a river for inland waterways. So here, these are some of the nuances that you have to keep in mind. It is vital for regulating the salt budget of the Caspian by providing freshwater inlet. Now, this region of Kazan hosted the BRICS summit quite recently. Now, when we talk about the BRICS nations, so the entire concept came into existence in 2009, officially came into existence in 2009, where you had the emerging economies of the world, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, coming together to form a kind of an alternate mechanism of global order when it comes to financing, when it comes to climate goals and sustainability aspect. Because it was observed that majority of the financial institutions, they are actually tilted or leaning towards the Western powers. So it is being run by the Western interests. That is why these emerging economies sought an alternative. Now, after the BRICS came into existence, various different countries have expressed interest to join the BRICS grouping. So 5 more entrants have been admitted into BRICS nations, and now you have the overall membership to 10 nations. So you have countries like Egypt, Ethiopia from the region of Africa, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. They have also been made a member of the BRICS nations. Together, the BRICS nation, they end up constituting close to around 45% of the global population. Around 45% of the global population, and they end up representing close to around 1/4 of the global GDP. That is almost around 25% of the global GDP. So 45% of population, right? and almost 25% of GDP. So it is a kind of a sustainable and a hefty alternate grouping which is going from strength to strength. So here for the prelims, what is it that we have to know? Let us take a look at it with the help of the practice question. Now put the answer to the practice question in the comment section below, and not that only I know the answer of question 1 or only I will attempt question 1 in the answer. Try to attempt all the various different practice questions and put the answer. So consider the following statements in the context of River Volga. It is the largest river of Europe. It drains into the Caspian Sea, increasing its salinity at the point of confluence. So take a look at it, select the correct answer and put it in the comment section below. Then the second question, which you can also attempt. Which of the following are not a part of the BRICS nations? Amongst the countries, which of them are not a part of the BRICS nation? So Ethiopia, Eritrea, Brazil, Iran, Saudi Arabia and Oman. How many of them are correct in terms of not being a part of the BRICS nation? Select the correct answer from the options provided, and when you do that, this will serve as automatic point of revision as well. Now, after this, we move on to the second place which has been in news, and that is Cali in Colombia. Now, Cali has been in news because of the fact that it has served as the destination for the Conference of Parties number 16 for the Convention on Biological Diversity. And there, owing to the demand of the member nations, there has been a setting up of the Cali Fund. And that Cali Fund is where various organizations who have gained some amount of profit or revenue by utilizing the biodiversity of a region, they have to provide some amount of money of the proceeds of the profit or the revenue to Cali Fund, and that fund will be then distributed to the local population and the indigenous population. Local and indigenous population. Okay? Now, Colombia in itself is a tropical country which has got a very rich biodiversity. If you take a look at the location of Colombia, you will find that in the northern extent it is joined by North America by the region of Panama. So Colombia provides the connectivity with the region of North America, the land connectivity. Then surrounding it, you have the oil-rich region of South America, that is Venezuela. Very, very rich in terms of oil resources. Now, Venezuela is also a region where you have major river systems of South America draining into the area. And also, it has got lush tropical grasslands in the name of llanos. So, you have the savanna grasslands in Venezuela, grasslands with the name llanos. Now, Colombia lies at the region of equator, so experiences heavy rainfall and has got dense forested area associated. Now, closer to Colombia, you will find the country of Ecuador and also surrounded by Peru. So these are the boundary regions of Colombia, and to the west of it, you have the very diverse island that is the Galapagos Island. In terms of diverse, this is very critical biodiversity region where you have unique kind of evolution patterns being observed in biodiversity, owing to the fact that the biodiversity in the region has remained isolated for a very long period of time. Now, close to it, you also have the Guano Islands, which serves as the rich source of potash and phosphate for the rest of the world. So, you have basically phosphate-rich Guano Islands. Now, it is named as the Guano Islands. It is to the west of Colombia, southwest of Colombia to be precise. And here the richness of phosphatic conditions are because there are a lot of bird droppings, and that is where the word guano has come from. So this has served as a reliable source and easy affordable source of phosphate or phosphorus availability ever since the Second World War. So that is the condition or the region of Colombia that you have to be aware of. Now here, what kind of question can you expect from this? So here, consider the following statements about Colombia. Tropic of Cancer passes through the country, dividing it in half. It shares its boundary with Peru to the east. The ecologically critical Galapagos Island lies to its west. So it is a very simple location-based question, very easy to solve. Get the correct answer, put it in the comment section. Now, the next area which has been in news is Valencia in Spain. Now, Valencia in Spain has been experiencing increased amount of rainfall, very heavy rainfall, which has created flash floods and has claimed more than 200 lives in the recent past. Now, why that rainfall has occurred or why that flash flood has occurred, we'll talk about very briefly. But here is where you have the region of Valencia. And if you observe this area, this is a part of the Iberian Peninsula. The entire region is a part of the Iberian Peninsula. So this is what you have as the Iberian Peninsula. Okay, peninsula basically means surrounded by water bodies from 3 different sides. Now here you will find that it is the Pyrenees Mountains which serve as a joining portion of land between Spain and France and the remaining portion of Europe as well. Now when you talk about the Iberian Peninsula, to the north you have the Bay of Biscay, then to the west you have the Atlantic Ocean, to the south you have the Gulf of Cadiz, then the Strait of Gibraltar joins the Mediterranean with the open ocean of Atlantic, and then you have Balearic Sea, which ends up dividing the region between Balearic Islands and the Spanish or the Iberian coastline. Now here, this region quite frequently experiences very debilitating flash floods which are destructive in nature. So why does this region experience such frequent occurrences of flash flood? That is owing to the fact of the nature of air mass in this area. So for example, here what happens is that you have cold air coming from this region, very cold air which comes from this area, right, from the region of the landmass. Now as the cold air mass approaches, it approaches the warm air present over the region of Mediterranean. Why is the air above Mediterranean warmer? That is because during the winter months, you will always have water bodies which are warmer as compared to the land, because land masses gain heat much quickly and also at the same time they lose heat at a much quicker rate. So that is why you will find that the water body over the Mediterranean that is slightly warmer. So here over the region of Mediterranean you will also find the presence of warm air mass. So here you will find the presence of warm air mass. Now as the warm air mass here is present, now the warm air mass is lighter. So as the cold air rushes towards the warm air is vertically pushed up. This forms, so here you have the cold air coming from the land and warm air is pushed up vertically. This is a typical condition of what is referred to as a cold front. So as a consequence of that, you have a vertical development of warm air system. So that undergoes condensation leading to the formation of very dense and thick cumulonimbus clouds, and that is associated with heavy rains. But not only that, this occurs in various parts of the world. So why there is flash flood is because of the fact, now if you take a look at the map carefully, imagine if the cold air is rushing in this area and the warm air is pushed up. The further upward motion of warm air is initiated due to the presence of mountainous area in the region of southeastern Spain or eastern Spanish region. So that is the region of Valencia. So here already the warm air is rising up, its further upward push is accelerated. So you have the cold front plus orographic condition, which leads to vital development of cloud, which is unsustainably large, and that causes copious amount of downpour, which can lead to occurrence of flash floods. So this is a kind of a weather system that the Iberian Peninsula experiences. In Spanish language, it is also referred to as the Dana weather system. Dana weather system. Okay? So that is something which occurs in the area. Now, here, what kind of question, locational question can be asked from this topic? So, arrange the following water bodies from north to south. Without looking at the map, I want you to attempt this question. Bay of Biscay, Balearic Sea, Strait of Gibraltar, and Gulf of Cadiz. So here, take a look at the options and arrange the water bodies from north to south. Like that, we have covered Barents Sea previously. Like that, we have covered South China Sea previously. So with this kind of a progress, I'm sure by the time of the prelims, you'll be able to cover all the water bodies in the surrounding regions as well. Now, the next region, that is Belem in Brazil. Now, Belem region in Brazil is the host of one of the G20 ministerial meets for disaster risk reduction. So that is why this is in news. Now, Belem is also a region where you have a port and also a region where you have a very critical and ecologically diverse estuarine ecosystem. So if you consider the map of South America, this is where Belem is situated. Okay, it is across the Amazon River basin, but here you have the Para River, which ends up joining here, and you have the Marayo Bay, which is created. So if we zoom into this image, this is where Belem is situated. Now from here, you have the influx of River Amazon, and you have the kind of deltaic island of Marayo, which is created. Now, this is where River Rio Para enters into the region of Atlantic Ocean. The amount of sediment load is very, very high across this, which is an estuary. Now, this is a region which has also experienced a lot of deforestation and changing land use pattern, owing to which you have the rivers such as Guama, which is particularly well known. Earlier, this was a forested area, but now due to deforestation, this has been carrying a lot of soil erosion, carrying a lot of topsoil along with it into the Marayo Bay, increasing the sediment load and the freshwater supply. So the location of Belem, it is across the estuary, that is the Marayo Bay, and it is across River Para, which is a larger part of the Amazon River basin as well. Okay, now then, due to the disengagement talks and the disengagement between India and China, you had in news Demchok and the Depsang Plains, the two areas where disengagement had been pushed till the last moment. So here, because UPSC has asked previously about Aksai Chin, Siachen Glacier, etc., so the locational aspect is going to be very vital. So if you take a look at it, then Depsang Plains are situated across the northern areas and the northern territory, and Demchok is situated somewhere here in the region of southern part of Ladakh. So here, if you take a look at it, so the northernmost point is what you have as Daulat Beg Oldi, where you have an advanced landing ground of the Air Force, and it is the northernmost airfield which is operational by the Indian Air Force. This is very close to the Karakoram Pass, threatening the Karakoram Highway, which connects China and Pakistan. Which part of China? The Xinjiang region of China with the region of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Then, to the south of that, you have the Galwan Valley, very close to Leh, and this is where the outbreak of the conflict actually happened, when you had soldiers from both the sides experiencing casualties. Then you have the hot springs, again a zone of conflict. Then you have Pangong Tso, the northern and the southern bank of Pangong Tso, which are separated by the spurs, mountain spurs, and what are also referred to as the finger area. And then you have the region of Demchok. Okay? So always remember, the northernmost airfield is what will help you retain the order. So the northernmost airfield is Daulat Beg Oldie. Then you have the Depsang Plains, which is a tank territory. That is, in the entirety of the frontier, this is the only region where you can have a battle of the tanks. So that is where India is developing the lightweight tanks under the name of Zorawar. Then you have the Galwan Valley, then Hot Springs, Pangong Tso, northern bank and the southern bank, and then you have the Demchok. Okay, so here again you can have a north to south arrangement kind of a question. So take a look at it. Arrange the following places from north to south: Daulat Beg Oldie, Galwan Valley, Demchok, Depsang Plains, and Pangong Tso. You have to correct, or you have to select the correct code from the options below. Now, the next area in news is Tuticorin. Now, why is it in news? Because recently autonomous vehicle was set sail for 1500 kilometers from Mumbai to Tuticorin or Tuticorin. So here, this region in Tamil Nadu, that will serve as the destination of the naval trial of autonomous vehicles, something that the Indian defense sector is developing with huge amount of fervor, and that is required for naval prowess, owing to the fact that India seeks itself to be the naval power and supreme naval power of the Indian Ocean. So here the location of Tuticorin is something which is important. Is it to the north of the Chennai port? Is it to the south of it? What is its locational aspect? Because it is one of the major ports of the country. So here, if you take a look at it, this is where Tuticorin is actually situated. So this is amongst the southernmost major ports. So if you take a look at the various different major ports across the country, that is important for your prelims examination. Again, the arrangement in north to south manner can be asked. So here in the west you have the Mundra port, or the Kandla port rather. Then you have the JNPT. Then you have Panji. Then Mangalore port. Then here you have the Tuticorin. So then you have Chennai, Visakhapatnam, Paradeep, Haldia. These are some of the major ports. Having said that, now there is development of the Virinium port. Virinium port, which is being developed to the south of Tiruvananthapuram. So that Virinium port is going to become the southernmost port across the entirety of the country. Okay. Otherwise, amongst the existing major ports of the country, Tuticorin forms the southernmost port, major port of the country. But Virinium port will form the most deep water port in the southern extent. Okay. Now, its name has also been changed, right? So that is where now it is Tuticorin rather than Tuticorin. Okay. Now, then River Jayamangali has been in news because a new species of jumping spider, that is the Tenkana species, Tenkana Jayamangali, has been discovered from the region. Now, Jayamangali is a small minor river in the region of Karnataka rather, which ends up originating from the region around Tumkur. So the Jayamangali River originates in the Dev Narayan Durg hills of Tumkuru district in Karnataka. So this Devarayan Durg hills of Tumkuru is the source of origin. The river is formed by the confluence of the streams Jaya and Mangli. Then it drains into the Panna river and eventually joining the Uttar Pinaki river and draining eastwards into the region of Bay of Bengal. So it is a west to east flowing river. This is where you have River Jayamangali. It ends up moving into River Penna and then eventually into the Uttar Pinakini river, which drains into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so what is this? Where is this river situated? This river is situated in the region of Tumkur. In which area? In the region of Devrayan Durg. Okay, and drains eventually into Bay of Bengal. Then Palk Bay has been in news owing to the dispute between the fishermen of Tamil Nadu and also the northern provinces of Sri Lanka. So here is where you have the presence of the Palk Bay. Okay, and this is where you have the Palk Strait. So Palk Strait ends up joining the water body of Bay of Bengal with Palk Bay. Okay, here you have the disputed island of Kachatifu. So that is where a lot of public interest has been raised and has been there for the past few months, and that is the island of Kachatifu. So this Palk Bay is again a critical biodiversity region where you have species of corals which can be found, and also you have unique species like dugong, which is a marine herbivore mammal that can also be found. Now, this is also where a dugong protection area has been created in this region. This also forms a kind of a marine protected area which protects the water body in this region. Okay, so here you can get the aspect of the arrangement in terms of the Palk Bay, Gulf of Mannar and Bay of Bengal. And where is Palk Strait? Palk Strait is the water body here. Okay, now the last region, that is the Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve. Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve has been in news owing to the death of 10 elephants in that area. So here, for your examination, what is required to be understood? Where is Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve? So Bandhavgarh is situated to the region of eastern Madhya Pradesh. This is one of the areas which has got the highest density of the tiger population. Here you will also find the melanistic tigers, that is the very rare white tiger, which is owing to a skin pigmentation issue that they have. That is why they have a kind of a whitish color. So that is also to be found here. So it is located between the Vindhyan and the Satpura ranges in the Umaria district of Madhya Pradesh, declared as a national park in 68 and tiger reserve in 1993. So it has got valleys, hills and plains with the very famous and mythologically important Bandhavgarh Fort also prominently situated in this area. It is said to have its origin at the time of Ramayana and also has its mention in the Mahabharat folklore as well. So it has got a mythological importance associated. Famous vegetation or the most prominent vegetation, tropical moist deciduous forest with sal, some of the mixed vegetation, also dry deciduous like tendu trees can be found in this area. So bamboo stretches on the lower slopes of the region can also be found. Okay, it has got very high density of tiger population. However, this is also the region which has experienced death of the tiger population in the recent times, keeping it in news almost continuously. Okay, so these are the various different places in news which have remained in news for the past 15 days. I urge you to make your own separate notes. However, be a part of the Telegram group and you can download the PDF of those areas in news. Attempt the question, put that in the comment section. I hope that this video and this session has added to your knowledge. If you have liked this, please don't forget to click on the like, share and the subscribe button. And what you feel about the content, put that in the comment section below. Till we meet again, take care, goodbye, thank you.